I hope that we, 4M, is seen as the industry standard for utility intelligence, trusted by all stakeholders. Every engineer, contractor, planner, field investigator, locator, whatever, utility owner will get from 4M the foundation for safer, more efficient infrastructure development. And beyond just mapping utility, 4M will reshape how infrastructure projects are planned and executed, eliminate uncertainty, reducing damage, and making the construction projects more predictable, sustainable, and cost-effective. If and when we will succeed, the communities we serve will benefit from fewer delays, fewer disruption, and a smarter, more resilient infrastructure built environment. That's the
Couldn't have said that better.
The train has already left the station. You choose, you jump on it or you stay behind.
Yeah, I'd rather be on it instead of having to jump on it. It sounds a little dangerous, but welcome to Convos with Chris, inside the minds of infrastructure experts, where I dive deep with industry leaders redefining how we plan, design, build, and deliver future-proof infrastructure through AI and innovation. I'm your host, Chris Garafola, Head of Content at 4M. Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of Convos with Chris, inside the minds of infrastructure experts. I'm your host, Chris Garafola, and this episode is brought to you by 4M Analytics, the first utility AI platform that equips civil engineering teams with instant access to reliable utility data and intelligent insights, all in one platform and designed to fit any workflow. Today, I'm very excited to have 4M VP of Product, Amir Hofman. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Chris. Happy to be here, and thanks for setting up this conversation.
Of course. So, Amir, before we hop into everything, as I always do on the show, I would love to learn a little bit more about you, your background, what led you to 4M, and what's motivating you today with all the great work that you're doing.
Good questions. Okay, about my background. My background is rooted in the intersection of technology, data, and product strategy. I've joined the software industry 26 years ago. I can't believe I'm saying this number. But over the last 16 years, I spent my career working on digital product and data-driven solutions that help industries and organizations and teams to make better decisions and faster. Before joining 4M, I held various product leadership roles across multiple industries, focusing on helping and drive better business results with digital products. Eventually, these were solutions that could simplify complex workflows, enhance efficiency, and ultimately enable teams and people to achieve better outcomes with less frictions. That's, in a nutshell, my background.
Awesome. Now, what brought 4M on your radar? Like, what made you want to shift gears a little bit and join 4M?
Okay. I was pulled into 4M.
That's always a good way to do it, getting pulled in.
I was not aware of that industry. I've joined 4M about 3 years ago already, and I was immediately drawn by the sheer magnitude of the problem that 4M was aiming to solve. The industry, or the infrastructure industry, has been dealing with unreliable, fragmented, outdated utility data for decades, and 4M mission is to solve it. To be honest, at the beginning, I was skeptical that this is the situation. But when I gained more information and more knowledge about the industry, and specifically about the utility in the construction industry, I was surprised that this problem is really there and still happening. By the way, from time to time, even today, I'm surprised to see that magnitude of this problem. And it covers, many aspects and of construction projects, from planning, engineering, design, and it goes through the damage prevention space, right? I mean, despite the year-over-year increasing of investment in the damage prevention space, it's amazing to see that the ROI, the return on investment, remains negative. And utility damage incidents continue to rise. I'm still struck by this fact.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like, we're building smart cities. We're talking about going to Mars, and just like the things that we would almost feel like is table stakes. It's still an issue, and it's so inefficient.
Yeah.
As a product person, I'm sure like you really have to fall in love with the problem in order to build a good product. Whereas if it was, it's kind of like a nice to have, like I feel, doesn't that like invigorate you and motivate you that this is such an important problem to solve that's going to help just humanity? It's like we are the consumers of this infrastructure that's being built. So it's like we all have a skin in the game in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think, I believe that this is the most important thing that motivates me, right? I mean, we're trying to solve a huge problem with a real world impact. So it's an amazing problem space, very challenging, but something that motivates me and drives me. This fundamental disconnect in the industry between the different parts of it, and when it comes to utility data, is not just about facing inefficiencies. It's about dealing with real financial, operational, safety risk that continue to persist despite all the efforts to mitigate them. So
Right.
it's amazing problem space, and 4M vision is to bring clarity to what's underground and above ground by making one repository of utility data over all its aspects, accessible, reliable, instantly available. This is something that I was and I'm still immediately connected with.
And you kind of just touched on it a second ago. For those that are just hearing about 4M or are wondering, like, what is a utility AI platform anyway? I know this is something that we call ourselves a utility AI platform. What is it, and what's the difference between traditional utility mapping and 4M's utility AI platform?
Utility AI platform is fundamentally new approach to understanding, consuming, and accessing utility data. If you look at the traditional way, so traditional and still ongoing, utility mapping has relied on fragmented records, outdated as-builds, manual field investigation, and you can continue that to more things, usually resulting with uncertainty, delays, and costly mistakes at the entire project lifecycle. So what sets a utility AI platform apart is its ability to aggregate, analyze, and enhance utility data at scale using AI and geospatial intelligence. We don't just collect data, right, for M Analytics. The game is not just to collect data. We actively process and refine it to create comprehensive, high-confidence map of underground and above-ground utilities delivered instantly, right? And designed to fit any workflow. In the AI platform, you have two components, or utility AI platform. You have the AI component, which is the technology, but also plus to that, the domain expertise is the key. So when you're combining both, you can create something that creates impact. That's the data aspect. But beyond just providing data, our platform, or we serve it within a digital environment that enables team to validate, interact with the data, and continuously refine the information, right? Eventually, this ensures that utility data is not just a static data,
Right.
becomes
Yeah.
living, breathing, reliable assets that can be utilized across different stages of the project lifecycle. Eventually, as a result, it brings faster project planning, reduced risk of utility strikes, and significant cost saving, because with better data, better decision making become possible.
Right.
Definitely if you get the data at the early stage of the project.
Yeah, I love that how we're not just collecting data because, I mean, what's data if you can't make sense of it or you can't organize it? It's unrefined. So that's just like half the battle. And I was going to ask you,
It's not even half the battle, it's
it's like
10% of
quarter,
the battle.
10% of the battle. Yeah.
10% of the battle. Yes, collecting data is difficult, but it's not the most challenging things. Collecting data for us is just simple technology, simple process. That's not the main thing.
Hmm. Interesting. So how do we collect all of this data and like where are we collecting it from? Like where does 4M source all of this data that we are collecting?
Yeah. We take a multi-source approach, right? AI-driven multi-source approach to the utility mapping. Our data pipeline starts by aggregating information from wide range of sources. This can be including public and proprietary records, utility as-built GIS datasets, permits, engineering documents, etc. On top of that, remote sensing, geospatial data, imagery, computer vision, satellite imagery, aerial imagery to identify surface features and evidence that eventually correlates with the underground utility, and combining that with AI data extraction to models, AI models that analyze, cross-reference, validate all these sources to detect inconsistency and fill the gaps, right? So think about it like once all the data is collected, the raw data of all the sources I mentioned goes through a structured processing pipeline where the AI powered engine extract and standardize the data, validate and perform cross checks information to detect inaccuracy or inconsistencies, correlate and infer missing data. We have
Hmm.
also technology to infer missing data using geospatial analysts and pattern recognition, etc. And eventually conflate everything and compile into final utility map to ensure all the underground and above ground utility data is structured, connected, and ready to be served instantly. So unlike the traditional methods that eventually rely on manual efforts, fragmented data, multiple tabs and places to start gathering
Different formats, all different
different
formats.
formats. Our platform eventually provides continuously improving, standardized, and high confidence utility map delivered in a matter of a click. So
Wow.
that's the difference between
Mhm.
utility AI platform to all other solutions.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, and it almost seems like too good to be true, right? It's like how is like this is amazing, and I know there's some people that are probably thinking like other civil engineering teams, they've been burned before. As you mentioned, it's either outdated records that didn't reflect reality, missing information that led to costly surprises. It's really hard for these civil engineering teams to trust data. They're just skeptical from the beginning. So what would you say, or how can these civil engineering teams trust our data? How can we trust that this is actually better than the traditional methods that I'm doing now? Like I should trust 4M's
Yeah,
data.
yeah. This is a very significant topic, and trust is at the core of everything that we do. I'll start by address this topic with some general statements, and then I'll go in details about how we are solving it. First of all, we're just at the beginning of the journey, right? We
Mm-hmm.
are creating a new category. We are bringing a new product to the market, to the construction market, and time is an essence. I mean, eventually the data will get improved, and organization will start to use it and will get more used to it, and trust will be built. This is one thing. Second thing is that within the entire AI transformation or revolution within all the industries, all have the same trust issue.
Right.
How are you reasoning an AI answer? How you are providing a reasoning or a reason to something that was produced by AI it's not just a problem for 4M in the construction industry, it's a challenge for all the AI revolution cross industries. And this is a really important thing. So maybe now I'll speak more about what specifically we do. Okay. So first of all, we are cross-validating multiple sources. I mean, we never rely on a single data set. So instead, our AI models detect these discrepancies and prioritize the most accurate data points from multiple sources. So we're crossing them and making sure that we're bringing our data with high confidence as possible to the market. This is the first point. Second point, internally, we are assigning confidence scores. So every utility segment in our platform has a confidence level based on the source quality. Quality, consistency, and historical validation. It can never be perfect, but it's something that it is evolving and helping us to provide more reliable data. On the product, on the customer-facing product, we are providing visual evidence for on-surface objects, right? For all the above-ground infrastructure, we deliver real-world reference to real-world imagery and visual confirmation to enable our users to cross-reference detected objects with physical evidence. And now we are also working on, and hopefully it will start to be available very soon, on enhancing transparency into the AI-driven decision, something that we are already actively working on, this new capability that will expose the reasoning behind the utility lines presented on our map. It will never be full reasoning with all the options, but it can bring some reasoning to our users so they will be able to correlate and to reference our data and understand why we provided it to them. It will give our users deeper insight into how the data was derived, helping them to make more informed decision and gain trust in the data. Last but not least, another initiative that we would like to cover this year is to start to incorporate feedback loop, user feedback loop. So our users will be able to interact with the data, validate it against their data or field investigation data, and provide us insight to enhance accuracy over time. Again, something that we plan to incorporate in the product later this year.
That's really exciting. That makes me think of like the smart cars. Now they're all talking to each other and they're all improving the product because of that.
Yeah.
That feedback loop. You mentioned, earlier too, that other industries are all facing the same, AI digital transformation. I want to say problem, but question. How can we trust this? And I forget who coined this. I heard this the other day about don't let perfect be the enemy of progress, right? Because it's still progress. It's still better than what we had. And that's really exciting. And we should embrace that as an industry, right? Because
Exactly, right? I'm using, for example, ChatGPT or similar tools on a daily basis. And I'm just increasing my usage, right? And it doesn't give me the perfect answer. I don't copy and paste it and send it, right? I copy it and then I revise it and then I review it. But why I'm using it? Because it gives me a tremendous jumpstart.
Right. That speed to value. You're getting to the finish line quicker. Whatever percentage you want to say, whether it's 30% faster or 40, like it's faster.
It's faster and it's getting better.
Right.
The same here.
Right.
Month over month, our data is getting better. So we are moving at a speed of whatever, spaceship. And the data is getting better and better.
Talking about the data, how often is it refreshed? Is it something where it's like once a year? Is it every 6 months?
Every few weeks, or let's say on a monthly cadence, we continuously update and refine our data to ensure reliability and accuracy. We are always continuously collecting new data, new records, permits, engineering documents, etc., and we incorporate them into the data. We are continuously updating our remote sensing insight, geospatial data, imagery, etc. It helps to detect new construction, infrastructure change, etc. So it's done continuously, and we're making sure that we're refreshing the data on a monthly basis. It doesn't mean that all the data is refreshed on a monthly basis, but definitely some parts. So it's a continuous process. And as I've mentioned, an upcoming capability later this year will be user feedback loops. So we plan to incorporate a user feedback loop directly into the product. So user will be allowed to interact with and validate the data. Our models will process their feedback, refining the data even further dynamically and on the spot, and improving accuracy over time. So for infrastructure teams, any teams.
Right.
This means that they will have access to continuously improving, living and breathing utility dataset rather than to a static utility map.
Yeah, I love that. And it sounds like it's like a symbiotic relationship where it's like the AI isn't just the pilot and the infrastructure professional just sits back. It's like the infrastructure professional, they're still validating this, right? They still have to go to the field and verify it. We're not completely removing them, right? Is that another misconception? This is just removing everybody. That's not the case.
No, we are not removing everybody. It's not the case. We are providing a reliable utility data right now, early on the project life cycle. So to shorten and make the early planning more efficient, faster, more reliable, and later on in later stages, if field investigations are needed, etc. Go ahead. Using our data, we already get this kind of feedback and statements from customers. They're even using our data to make the field investigation more efficient, to reduce the iteration of field investigation, to make the field investigation faster, plus QA, QC the field investigation results with our data. So when you're looking at the impact of the data, not just on the engineers that are sitting behind their desk, but also on the field investigation team, starts to become a powerful story that
Right.
incorporates both activities.
Office in the field and the various workflows that 4M can provide value and impact for. Amir, I'd love to dive in a little bit more talking about the data, some of the latest product enhancements that you and the team have been working on, specifically object detection. Like this is a very, very exciting capability that it has been around for what, like 6 months now, object detection, give or take, but we've
few months just for initial value where we detected manuals and poles. 2 weeks from now, we're going to release a huge release that impacts the entire object detection value.
It's really, really exciting. And before I geek out on it a little bit more, let's take a step back and just for those who haven't even heard about what object detection is in the first place, would you be able to just explain what object detection is in the context of utility mapping and format?
Object detection as a standalone is an advanced AI-powered capability that enables automated identification and classification of above ground utility assets, right? Can be poles, valves, hydrant, pedestals, meters, and so forth, right? Just name the objects. Traditionally, identifying these above ground assets required manual survey, field visit, and maybe use of scattered records. A process that is time consuming, inconsistent, and often inaccurate. So our object detection technology automate this process at scale. We are using high resolution imagery and machine learning models to detect, classify, and map critical above ground infrastructure with precision. For construction planning, this is a game changer because it provides engineers and project teams behind the desk or in the fields instant visibility into existing assets. So This is just the object detection as a standalone. But on top of that, integrating the object detection directly into our product, along with the utility lines, the attributes, the utility owners, the land ownership, and all the good stuff that we're adding, it provides 360, a very comprehensive understanding and data about the area of interest of the project, reliable, high confidence asset data that combines with, incorporated with all other assets and data points. It's amazing. It's drastically reducing uncertainty and definitely accelerating decision making, planning, etc.
Wow, it sounds like we're becoming the most connected source of utility data. We're connecting all these different data points.
This is eventually what we're trying to do, right? And we're just at the beginning. We're already doing amazing things, but it will evolve. It is evolving very fast, and the sky is the limit. Yes, we're connecting all the utility assets or related data into one environment. Everything into one environment eventually will impact every workflow within a construction project.
And so we had object detection, as you mentioned, it's been out for a few months, but with this new big release, we're expanding the assets that we're detecting. Is that correct?
Yeah, behind the scene, we expanded the technology. This was the heavy lifting. Now that we expanded the technology, we're able to add more objects. So in 2 weeks, for example, on top of the manuals and poles, we will be able to classify the poles to different types, street light, electricity, etc. And we will be able to show more objects, hydrants, valves, pedestals, inlets. And because we already did the heavy lifting of technology, we will continue to add more and more objects, more and more classification options very fast.
Right, right. No, that's really, really exciting. And as you mentioned too, all these objects, you can actually view them, the street view, within Formap as well, right? To validate that it's actually there.
Yes, it's happening today with the coming release in 2 weeks. For most of the objects, we will also enable our users to spot on the object. So instead of just opening the street view in the object area and the user need to navigate to find the object, now the user will open the street view and will be spotted on directly the object, which is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really exciting. I'm going to go through a little thought experiment. Say I'm a SUE manager. How does the street view integration that you just mentioned enhance field investigations, and what impact does it have on, say, reducing site visits or project delays?
SUE manager, field investigation, or surveyor, I think it's for all, these field crews. It's accurate field data is critical for them, right? It's crucial for them. But physically visiting a site can be time consuming, expensive, with a lot of logistic challenges, right? So by integrating the street view with our object detection, we empower these field crews and engineering team to validate the data remotely, cutting down on visit sites. I'm not saying eliminating,
right,
but I'm saying reducing the visit sites, iteration, making the visit sites more efficient, and accelerating the overall project execution.
That makes sense. And I'm sure a lot of these projects are in rural areas too that might be far away from the office. So doing these field visits, to your point, could be very costly, whether it's just traveling there, or in some cases, maybe they even have to, get a hotel or stay overnight if it's really far away.
Yeah.
Is there anything else in particular in terms of like the product enhancements with object detection that the audience tuning in now can look forward to for the future? You kind of touched upon in the near future. Is there anything for the rest of the year that we can look for for object detection?
For the rest of the year and beyond.
And beyond.
Because right now, our technology is just the beginning. Our current object detection provides tons of value, but as we see it is just the beginning. We're continuously enhancing our capabilities to further refine the accuracy and usability of detected assets, mentioning some of the key advancements we're working on, identify more types of on-surface objects. Eventually, we will cover the majority of the most important objects, identifying evidences of existing utility. We didn't speak about it, but our technology is also enabling us to identify spray marks, postmarks, flags, which are all supported evidences for existence utilities. And very soon we will start to present and serve those evidences on the map to our users. We're enhancing the classification and the metadata, expanding the level of details that are associated with the detected objects. So it can be their attributes, material type, dimension, condition assessments, etc. A huge technology leap that we're working on is altering the underground to above ground correlation. So connecting the above ground assets with the underground utility to provide more comprehensive view of the utility network. This is something that we're working on. It's another technology leap that we have the knowledge and the technology to do it. Very exciting. Eventually, AI-powered predictive analysis using historical data and machine learning to predict infrastructure risks, such as potential assets failure or high-risk excavation zone, etc. So, really,
onwards and upwards. It's only up from here. So if you're excited about what we're doing now, like just strap in, get ready, because it's only going to get better. And it's, I love the evolution too, where it's more insights. It's not just, to your point, as you mentioned, static data. Like these are insights that you can, these intelligent insights that you can use, predictive, analytics, and helping you make action plans in the next logical step based on this data.
Yeah. For example, for utility owners, DOTs, etc., assets detection is a huge thing, right? I mean, and being able to do that in a matter of click at scale, it's amazing.
I would love to pick your brain on a couple more questions here before we wrap up, Amir. If I'm on a civil engineering team hearing about 4M for the first time, what's the one sentence you'd want stuck in my head about 4M and why it's a game changer?
Yeah. It's not just for civil engineer, okay? But let's say you're a civil engineer or any other stakeholder in the construction industry. 4M, we transform the utility data that is currently fragmented and distributed all over from an unreliable bottleneck into an instantly accessible. So AI-driven assets, civil engineers, project teams, utility owners, name it, can plan, design, and build smarter and faster with confidence, speed, and accuracy. This is what we do.
I love that. And yeah, as you mentioned, utility owners, DOTs, commercial, anybody that's basically, if you're going to be planning, building, designing, digging,
At some point, we're not there yet, but at some point, yes.
Sorry, I'm over my skis. And I know we're focusing on the preliminary planning stages because, like, if we start early on in the planning stage, it has the greatest impact on the whole construction life cycle. And that's why we focused on the preliminary phases, right?
Exactly. You want to handle risks as soon as possible at their early stages.
So fast forward 10 years. Fast forward 10 years, Amir. What do you hope 4M represents to the industry and to the communities we serve? I know I can't even imagine 10 years from now because our technology is advancing so fast. I've been with 4M for just over a year now, and the amount that we've grown and added to our solution in that year is just mind-blowing. But I'm going to put it on you to think 10 years down the road. What do you hope 4M represents to the industry and the communities we serve?
Yeah, I love that you put on me 10 years. One, I hope I will look younger in 10 years, but seriously. And let me address this as I don't think we need 10 years. I think we need 5 years. The industry. I think what we will see in 5 years is going to be a real transition and transformation from how the industry is doing today. Eventually, if you look at the digital transformation across various industries, already took place. And yes, it's still improving, but a lot of other industries that are not the construction industry already embraced and implemented the digital transformation in many aspects. For some reasons, I don't want to relate to them, and I'm not sure that I fully understand all the reasons. It's the construction industry just began to embrace the digital transformation. So I think the train has already left the station. So either you're jumping on it and joining this ride, or you're hesitating and you're going to be left behind. So in 5 years, not 10 years, 5 years, I hope, and again, that will be Forum Analytics, but regardless of Forum Analytics, that will be the entire industry change. But I hope that Forum is seen as the industry standard for utility intelligence, trusted by all stakeholders. Every engineer, contractor, planner, field investigator, locator, whatever, utility owner will get from Forum the foundation for safer, more efficient infrastructure development. And beyond just mapping utility, Forum will reshape how infrastructure projects are planned and executed, eliminate uncertainty, reducing damage, and making the construction projects more predictable, sustainable, and cost-effective. I think that if and when we will succeed, the communities we serve will benefit from fewer delays, fewer disruption, and a smarter, more resilient infrastructure and built environment. That's
Couldn't have said that better. That was awesome. And yeah, whether you want to be on what the saying is, bleeding edge or the cutting edge, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And it's one of those things where if we want to future-proof our infrastructure, we have to change, right? So this is super critical.
Chris, as I said, the train has already left the station. You choose, you jump on it or you stay behind.
Yeah, I'd rather be on it instead of having to jump on it. That sounds a little dangerous, but well, thank you so much for your time today, Amir. You're a wealth of knowledge, really exciting. All the great, exciting product advancements that we have on the docket for 4M. I know I'm extremely humbled and honored to be working at a purpose-driven company like 4M. So everybody tuning in, that's a wrap for today's episode. Amir, this has been an extremely eye-opening conversation, especially for anyone looking to pursue smarter, plan faster, and mitigate risk for projects early on. For those eager to explore Forum's platform and everything that we just discussed today, you can head over to 4manalytics.com and try it for yourself. Get a demo. Have a team that's eager to talk to you and answer any of the questions that you have that we may not have discussed on in today's conversation. But Amir, thank you so much, my friend, for your time.
Thank you, Chris. I enjoyed our conversation. Thanks for setting it up.